Okay, so Rav Melammed's introduction to the laws of Shabbat is about the creation. Um, much later, we're going to learn about the prayers of Shabbat, and we're going to learn that the prayer on Friday night is relating to the creation, and the prayer on Shabbos morning is relating to the coming out of Egypt. And even though it's only a midrash that they kept Shabbat in Egypt, and or that Moshe asked the Pharaoh to allow them to keep the Shabbat. And almost all of our liturgy and um, um, commandments are Zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim, remembrance of coming out of Egypt. But really, on Friday night, we talk about the creation and we talk about the 6 days of creation. We talk about Shabbat being special long before the Jews were in Egypt. So just wanted to point that out as an introduction. So it took 6 days for God to create the heavens, the earth, and all within them. At first glance, an additional day seems unnecessary. Nevertheless, God created the seventh day and designated it for rest and cessation of labor. As a result, the world contains rest, blessing, and holiness, and thus we read, the heavens and the earth were finished and all their array. I think it's the first time in the Tanakh that the word tzava is mentioned. I never thought about what it really means, but with this translation of array, tzava'am is really special because it's not only about the heavens, it's also more about the stars, which we just read about in Parshat Lech Lecha, and we're going to read this Shabbat on Parshat Vayera. On the seventh day, God finished the work that he had been doing, and he ceased on the seventh day from all the work that he had done. And we're going to see that instead of the word work, we're going to work to talk about the word creation because regular work is not completely forbidden on Shabbat, only creative work or creative labor. And so, for example, before we go on, you're allowed to go up and down the stairs all of Shabbat carrying your couch or cupboards or whatever, even though that's considered work, but you're not allowed to even turn on a light because that's considered creative labor. So that's mainly the difference. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that he had done. Sages ask, does God really get tired? Is it not already stated, the Lord is God from of old, creator of the earth from the end to end. He never grows faint or weary. Lo yanum v'lo yishan, like Hashem does really not need any kind of rest. Not only that, but he actually gives the weary strength, as is written, he gives strength to the weary. Noten layef koach, which we have in our morning blessings. Why then does it say he rested on the seventh day? In the Shemot and Book of Exodus, it is as though God declared that he created his world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. And that's from the Mechilta. Sorry. Why did God dictate that even he must rest on the seventh day? In order to create rest, satisfaction, tranquility, and calm for the world. As long as God was busy creating the world was constantly expanding. When he rested on the seventh day, rest was given to the world, meaning that it stopped expanding, but it continued to exist because our rabbis tell us in the Talmud that even if God stops for 1 second, um, allowing the world to continue being created, then all life, especially human, animal, and trees, will stop. So that kind of work is continued by Hashem, but not by us. basically the difference, meaning we have to imitate God, but we don't have to imitate God in continuing to sustain the world, because Hashem sustains the world even without actual labor and work. Non-stop work without rest expresses a tremendous yearning for perfection and an unending sense of a void that can never be filled. Despite all of our work, toil, and travail, we are unable to achieve satisfaction and peace of mind because perfection remains so far away and our shortcomings extend indefinitely. And even my computer says in search of incredible. And there's actually, I found out from one of my students a few years ago that there's no word in Hebrew for perfection or perfect. Only Hashem is perfect, and there's no such word in Hebrew. We have the word mushlam, which means wholesome. We have the word metzuyan, which means excellent, but we don't have the word perfect in Hebrew because there is no such thing as perfection in the human realm. There is so much emptiness to fill and so many problems to fix that we can never stop working. This is how people would be living if the world had been created in 6 days without Shabbat. But with the creation of Shabbat, the world was blessed with rest, and that's according to the Maharal, basically understanding that we can have a rest and that we don't have to rely only on our work to make it better. One is able to rest when he or she knows that their actions are valuable. They derive satisfaction from their labor, knowing that their work is not for naught. This allows them to gather their strength and ready themselves for the next stage when they will resume working. Maybe completely off topic. Today is a day of rest in Canada because we remember the soldiers, the men and women who gave their life to give us freedom in World War I and World War II. However, if one does not appreciate the value of their work, they will not be blessed with the peace of mind, even if they stop working. This was true at the beginning of the world as well, although the heaven and the earth continued, continents and oceans, trees and grasses, luminaries, and the deep, fish, birds, and animals were already created, and even though man or mankind was created in the divine image, already walked therein, the world was still devoid of meaning, and thus there was no rest. With the creation of the seventh day for rest and cessation of labor, the ability to absorb the inner worth of the world and all creation and taken in it was created as well. So let's go back to what we started at the beginning. In Egypt, the Midrash tells us that Moshe asked the Pharaoh to give the Jewish people a day of rest. And according to that Midrash, it was basically so that they will have the energy and strength to continue working in slavery for the other 6 days of the week. But obviously, he was doing it for the spiritual reason, which is that it's not only a day of rest physically, but also a day where we can connect to Hashem, we can connect to our spirituality, we can talk to Hashem and understand what is really special about it. And that's why in our continued study of this, we'll learn about the Zmirot for Shabbat and all the other things that were very special, even though they could have been for any other day. The Jewish people are especially blessed with this blessing of Shabbat, of resting not only from physical work, but also the energy of spiritual, of reading the Torah, of praying a little bit longer than regular days, and all the other things that we do on Shabbat. And we'll stop here.